general session is being broadcast on a live webcast through the National Ataxia Foundation. So if you have not contacted your friends and neighbors and family, please do so now. Let them know that they can watch this live at ataxia.org. Go to their homepage and just click on the live webcast. This is the first year that they've done this, so contacting your family and friends and anyone who you think might have an interest in this will greatly benefit the possibility that this will happen more in the future. It is so important that we include everybody in these meetings. And this is a way to do it, to get the folks who are unable to travel, who can't financially make these meetings. This is a way for them to be involved and informed about NAF and what we do. So please contact them, and then as soon as you're finished with that, whatever electronic device you have chosen to contact them with, please shut off all ringtones or ringers so that it doesn't interrupt the rest of the presentation. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Our first speaker today is Mr. Matt Feeney with Adaptive Adventures out of Lakewood, Colorado. He was an avid biker and skier when, in a cliff diving accident at Lake Powell in 1988, he suffered an accident and became paralyzed from the waist down. In 1991, Mr. Feeney left the financial industry in Denver and moved to Winter Park to pursue adaptive ski racing and become involved more in outdoor recreation. After training and competing with Winter Park Disabled Ski Team, Matt joined forces with Home Healthcare Sunrise Medical as a team member and national spokesperson. In 1993, Matt was hired by the National Sports Center for the Disabled to coordinate a sit-ski program, which under his direction grew to over 300 volunteers and became responsible for thousands of ski lessons annually. He is a two-time off-road champion and an accomplished hand cyclist and ski instructor. Please welcome Matt Feeney.
Check. Can you hear me? Okay. Thank you, Trish. I appreciate that. And I want to thank the National Ataxia Foundation for allowing me to speak to you this morning. And as Trish said, I'll talk about my background here in a little bit, but I'm here today to talk to you about an organization that I co-founded 16 years ago called Adaptive Adventures. And what we do is we offer outdoor sports and recreation opportunities to people with physical disabilities. And I'm going to start off with a short video, and then I will get into the presentation. So, Jim,
what does it take to overcome adversity, frustration, injury, in the pursuit of adventure?
The very early years when I started to race, I raced with Adaptive Adventures. It wasn't until I found skiing that I realized there was a lot more out there, and skiing to me was easier than walking. Skiing with Adaptive Adventures has made me a more well-rounded person. The people that I've met are still very close to me.
I've been a part of Adaptive Adventures for 5 years, and it's definitely something that I look forward to.
The kids bond, the parents bond. You realize that, you're all in the same boat together, and it's a nice boat.
The program has given us the opportunity to do this with our kids where otherwise our budget wouldn't allow that.
A lot of times people like to do stuff for them, so these programs with Adaptive Adventures pushes them to be able to realize that I can do it.
These camps are what made me want to get back out and re-engage life.
I'm Ryan Kelly. I lost my leg in 2003 to a road cyclone below the knee, and wasn't really sure what life was going to, have in tail for me. And through adaptive sports, it really made me want to just shoot for the moon and what I was going to do in life and make a living now as a helicopter pilot. And I did all that after I got hurt. Without the access to that adaptive sports, I really don't know what I'd be doing.
To be a volunteer gives great satisfaction. There are great friendships made, and the bond is great. The people have incredible drive and spirit.
It's great to be here with them and support them and be by their side, watch as they're excelling and as they're learning new skills and taking on new challenges. And it's just so amazing and humbling to see where they've come from and where they're going. And
the energy, the people, pretty beautiful.
Without adaptive adventures, he wouldn't be doing all the things that a typical 13-year-old boy does.
The opportunities that have been granted to us by Adaptive Adventures has been very enabling for Jack. Just the ability for him to go out and do stuff independently without us having to be there supporting him has been awesome.
This is something that a couple years back we thought we were done doing. And here we are, skiing as a family again. I can't tell you what this has done for us as a family. We love it. I mean, it's brought us closer together, definitely.
Way to go, Jack!
We can't express our thanks enough to Adaptive Adventures for everything they've done for us. It's been amazing.
Adaptive Adventures is freedom.
Adaptive Adventures. Freedom through mobility.
All right, so hopefully that piqued your curiosity a little bit about what Adaptive Adventures is and what we do. We are a Colorado-based nonprofit organization. We were founded 16 years ago by myself and another gentleman named Joel Berman, who lost his leg above the knee in a railroad accident in the 80s. And we offer unique and innovative sports programs and resources, and we try to create an environment that promotes health, well-being, and positive life experiences. One of our taglines is freedom through mobility, and we believe very strongly in that. Freedom through mobility, and we also believe in the positive experience that you can get from participating in sports. It's not always easy for someone with a disability to get out there and do some of this stuff, and so we try to bring the programs to people when we can. It also builds confidence, and people can gain inspiration and achieve other goals in life. I think when you participate in outdoor sports and recreation, you do have that confidence, and it enables you to be successful in other facets of your life. So again, as Trish alluded to earlier, she gave a little bit of my background, but in 1988, I was vacationing at Lake Powell in southern Utah. I'd grown up in Colorado. Sports was a big part of my life as a kid. And if you grow up in Colorado, outdoor sports is a way of life, and especially with skiing. I started skiing at a very early age, and it was my first love. But in 1988, I was vacationing at Lake Powell in southern Utah, and I dove off a cliff and broke my back. Didn't hit anything but water. It was just kind of a freak accident. I damaged the spinal cord at the 9th thoracic vertebrae. Again, you certainly don't expect something like that to happen to you in life, but so it's quite a transition to being a paraplegic. So that was in 1988. In 1991, I decided to move up to Winter Park. I had learned to ski. I'd skied a few times, and it was a humbling experience because I ski in a monoski, which is a seated apparatus with a shock absorber and one single ski. I think you can kind of see a picture of it on the right there. But that's a monoski, and back in the late 80s, that was a fairly new piece of equipment, and it was very humbling and frustrating to learn how to do it. But once I learned how to do it, I was hooked, and in 1991, I moved up to Winter Park. Quit a perfectly good job in Denver to do that. I had no job. I had no plans. I just knew I needed to be outdoors and to pursue to pursue skiing. And so that's when I met Joel, when I got a job up there in Winter Park in 1993 at the National Sports Center for the Disabled, which at the time was the largest adaptive ski program in the world. And I still volunteer for them to this day. But as years went on, I started developing interest in other sports, cycling. If any of you have heard of a ride in Colorado called Ride the Rockies, it's a 400-plus mile ride every June. And a friend of mine loaned me a hand cycle in 1996, and I did my first Ride the Rockies and rode every mile over the mountain passes. And I thought at the end of that, okay, I can cross that off the list. Don't have to do that anymore. Well, you start meeting people along the way, and it's a very social event. I ended up doing it 12 years in a row. But the point is I developed other interests. I was water skiing at the time and doing all these other things that the National Sports Center for the Disabled didn't offer. So that led myself and Joel Berman to start this program, Adaptive Adventures, in 1999. And our mission is to provide progressive outdoor sports opportunities to improve the quality of life for children, adults, and veterans with physical disabilities. And again, I truly believe that outdoor sports is a really big part of someone's life, especially with a disability, because sometimes when you have a disability, that part, like I said, is not easy, and it's hard to get involved. So that's one of the reasons we started Adaptive Adventures. We started as a Colorado-based nonprofit organization and still are, but we have an office in the Midwest now, in the Chicago area. And we have a philosophy of bringing programs to people. So we're all over the place. We do, again, we have a houseboat in Lake Powell in southern Utah, which is kind of the scene of the crime. That's where I got hurt. But it's such a beautiful place and a great experience. So we have a wheelchair-accessible houseboat there, and we run trips there. So we're in Utah. We're in Wyoming, New York, California, New Mexico. And we work with a variety of disabilities, anyone with a physical disability. Again, spinal cord injuries, amputations, spina bifida, and muscular dystrophy, and cerebral palsy. We also work with people with visual impairments as well. And we work with over 2,000 different participants every year. This program has grown and evolved over the years, and we're now able to serve a lot of people that we weren't 10 years ago, including members of the military. We work with the Wounded Warrior Project and the VA as well. We also have what we call our ASK program, which is Adaptive Sports for Kids. One of my favorite things to do is to work with children with disabilities and to watch them develop and grow. And this is where I really can truly say that, you know, outdoor sports and activities for people with disabilities really makes a difference. I've seen kids that I taught how to teach, or I taught how to ski, I should say, when they were young children, 8, 9, 10 years old, and I've seen them go on to college and become successful in their careers. And I think, you know, their exposure to these outdoor sports really had a lot to do with that. We also have a military program. As I said, we work with the Wounded Warrior Project and local VAs, and we support men and women that have been injured in conflicts. Our different sports. In the winter, obviously, we live in Colorado, so we ski. That's mostly what we do in the winter. And we're not site-based. Our office is in Lakewood, so we go to different ski areas and do camps. So we do a 4-day camp in Steamboat, and then we go to Vail for a couple of days, and Grand Targhee, Wyoming, and Jackson Hole, Wyoming, different places, and we run ski camps. We also do Nordic Skiing, which is cross-country skiing, for those of you who don't know what Nordic skiing is, which is quite daunting for someone who's sitting down. Cross-country skiing is a very physical and demanding sport. But if you're sitting down, you don't have the use of your legs, it can be even more so. But again, it increases the level of fitness, and it's great just to be outdoors. Our summer sports include water skiing, wakeboarding, and kayaking. Those are our the main core water sports. And the cool thing about water skiing And kayaking is anyone can do it, especially water skiing, no matter what your disability is. And I'll say the same for snow skiing. These are very liberating sports. There's some freedom to that. When I get out, anytime I can get out of my wheelchair and get in a different apparatus and do something fun is always something I look forward to doing. We also have just started a paddleboarding program, which is kind of a new sport. And we do some whitewater rafting as well. We go on single-day trips and multi-day trips on the Colorado River and other places. Cycling, as I mentioned earlier, is another big sport. It's one of the fastest growing sports in the disabled community. In 1988, when I broke my back, the technology wasn't there yet. There wasn't a bike created yet for someone like me who only has the use of his arms that can get out and ride. So a lot of people before then really didn't have a choice. If their friends or family were going out on a bike ride, they couldn't participate. So in the early 90s, the hand cycle was created. And by the time I got on one in the mid-90s, as I said, the technology had gotten good enough to where someone like myself could ride 75, 80, 100 miles in a day and keep up with able-bodied riders. We also we've started doing dragon boat racing, which is more of a team sport. That's got a long history as well. Dragon boat is something where you get these big, long boats, and you get about 20 people in them, all with paddles, and you work as a team, and you compete. We do a lot of that with the military organizations. We also have started a scuba diving program recently. And again, I can't say enough about scuba diving. It's one of these sports that I kind of went into kicking and screaming. I thought it would be kind of boring. But again, any opportunity I get to get out of my wheelchair and get in the water, and as I said earlier, water is a great equalizer. When I'm scuba diving in the water next to some able-bodied people, I'm just like them. I just don't have the use of my legs, so I don't wear flippers. I just wear webbed gloves. My friends call me Aquaman sometimes when I'm down there scuba diving. But again, it's great. You're down there, the weightlessness, the freedom of movement when you're in the water is very cool. And we also do climbing, rock climbing, mostly indoor rock climbing. And again, the technology has gotten to the point where someone like myself can actually do some climbing, can climb a mountain. I have a friend, Mark Wellman, who in 1989 became the first paraplegic to climb El Capitan in Yosemite. And if any of you know what that might be like, it's quite a feat. So again, the technology is there for us to experience all these outdoor sports and to enjoy them just like everybody else. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention we have an upcoming fundraiser. For those of you who are local, I know that a lot of you are from out of town, but if you're around next Saturday night, we have a casino night, which is right across the street at the McNichols building. And as a local nonprofit, I know someone was mentioning fundraising earlier. As a nonprofit organization, that's part of the deal. We have to raise money to provide these programs for the men and women we serve. So we're having a casino night this coming Saturday, across the street at the McNichols building. So wanted to make sure everybody knew about that. And I believe that's my time. Normally at this part of the presentation I would open it up to questions, but as I understand it, there will be a panel after all the speakers come up, and then you can ask questions then. So I want to thank you for your time, and we'll talk to you later during the panel discussion.